Hey there, Brett here with Quarter Properties, your Myrtle Beach area real estate expert. And today I want to hop on here and chat with you about having some realistic expectations of your general home inspection. Okay. We've been blessed to have quite a few houses go under contract over the last couple of weeks. And when we're buying, helping folks buy resales, many times there's going to be a due diligence process in there where we have home inspections completed, get the feedback, maybe request some repairs, things like that. But I just want to hop on here and chat with you about maybe some limitations and just helping you out with expectations of what that home inspection process is going to look like, because it is important to have realistic expectations. So first and foremost, one limitation is a general home inspection is not going to inspect for certain things like radon. They're not, mold and moisture. They're going to be limited there. Just a general kind of inspection there. Pests, hazardous materials, things like this. Your general home inspection, they're going to come in. They're gonna check out the appliances. They're gonna test the HVAC. They're gonna take a glance at the roof. Look for that. They're gonna peek in the attic. They're going to look for things in a general manner. Okay, general. All right. They're probably only going to be in that house for say 2.5 hours or so, depending on the size of the house. They are not an expert in any one given area. And here are a few examples of really what we've seen just over the last couple of weeks, okay? Like we had one house where the home inspection came back and there were some questions on, the roof and the shingle integrity, even though it had only, it was only a 7-year shingle. So in that situation, the home inspector is not going to have all the answers. They're really just pointing you to, hey, there may be an issue. You're going to want to have this looked at further by someone who's an expert in that field. That's what we did. Came back, got a second opinion. Roof was fine. Everything moved on. Same thing with moisture. You're going to have the home inspector will have the moisture reader out and they'll take some moisture readings. But again, they're not an expert. Typically, when you have something like that, then it calls for we're getting another inspection. And you're also, if you're having a termite inspection, a CL 100, they're going to check for pests and they're going to check for moisture readings at a higher level. But even with that, we just had a situation where we had some high moisture readings, higher than normal in a certain area on a house. And that came back from the termite inspection. But once you get that, just understand that's typically another layer of inspection that's needed. An expert, someone that we get out there that's going to be an expert in that. Let's pull some siding back. Let's take a look at the sheathing, see where the water is coming from, get an estimate maybe from someone that's going to repair that. So that takes a whole nother layer of inspections and estimates. That's not going to come from your general home inspection. That person is just going to tend to point you towards potential problems that you may need to have inspected further. And the other one we just had recently over the last couple of weeks was an HVAC. We had an HVAC that was not reading well as far as the air supply compared to the air return, had really low differentials on it. So we got the seller agreed. They got the HVAC company out there, got it serviced to get the differentials for the air supply to where they want it to be. Again, the home inspector, the general inspection said, hey, I'm noticing a low reading here. You'll want to get an expert out here to take a look at this. So just understand that the general home inspector, he's only there for 2.5 hours or so. He's just going to, in a lot of situations, point us towards areas that might need further inspection, okay? And he can't catch everything, all right? There are a lot of little things that they're not going to be able to notice. They're there to help point you in the direction of big things that you could potentially have issues with. Now, let me talk about this. A lot of times a closing time frame might be 45 to 60 days on a home. We just had a situation where a home inspection got completed early on, but it was a 60-day close, okay? that home inspection is good for the day of. All right. That home inspector has no clue if something is going to happen, if the AC is going to go out, if the refrigerator is going to go out. Things like that could happen over the next 1 to 2 months while you're waiting to close. So when it comes time for your final walkthrough, typically the final walkthrough is only, say, 15 minutes or so. You're just kind of going to the house, with your realtor, making sure that the house looks pretty good. You're making sure that the seller has left, but if you really want a thorough final walkthrough with inspection, you might need to have another inspection done on it. That's not common, but if you want to know for sure that at the time that you're about to close and give up your money for the keys, well, then the day before that, you may have another final home inspection done where they come in and test the appliances again, test the HVAC again, test everything again to make sure. Because I promise you, I'm not a home inspector, and I'm not going to be able to find those things in a final walkthrough. So please remember that, because if you had your home inspection done 60 days prior to closing, and then you do your final walkthrough, and it's, a normal 15 to 20 minutes, you close, get your keys, get back to the house, I promise you, there very well could be an appliance that was working 60 days ago that isn't working today, or some other minor thing. So you just kind of have to be aware of that and have realistic expectations. Okay. All right. I hope you found this information interesting. If you did, please follow us. Please like and subscribe if you want to keep up with more interesting Myrtle Beach area real estate tips, or just real estate tips in general. If you're thinking about buying in the Myrtle Beach area at some time in the future, we've got the absolute easiest way to keep up with the latest listings, and a link right there in the description. If you're thinking you might want to sell in the future at some point, we've got a way to keep up with your home value right there in the link in the description. If you want to chat about buying and or selling in the Myrtle Beach area, my email address and my phone number are right there in the description, and we'll be talking to you soon.